Warren Buffett in the past few days has been speaking with the Biden administration, specifically regarding the crisis in the banking industry. Now he might be interested in buying one of the banks. We just don't know which one yet.
$1 billion in that lifeline to First Republic. And now what are we hearing about Warren Buffett perhaps investing in these banks?
Well, we do know that Warren Buffett is not only a well-respected investor, but he's been regarded as a savior of ailing banks in the past. And according to people familiar with the matter, there have been multiple calls between the billionaire and the Biden White House senior advisors in recent days, specifically about potentially investing in the U.S. regional banking sector. We also know that Buffett has given some of his views and broader guidance about the current banking crisis. Now, Buffett, back during the debt ceiling crisis in 2011, when Bank of America's stock was plunging, offered a lifeline, invested several billion in Bank of America in return for shares and options. He also tossed a $5 billion lifeline to Goldman Sachs back at the height of the financial crisis. And we do know that the Biden administration has favored these kind of private investments, as Sherry just mentioned, rather than using government spending to backstop the banks. Bloomberg has reported that Treasury Secretary Yellen specifically was instrumental in getting those 11 banks together to put $30 billion in deposits in the First Republic last Thursday. We're told those commitments for at least 120 days. But look how the stock performed in the past couple of days. On Friday, the stock fell by an additional 33% in the regular session, a little more after hours. And that indicates concerns about First Republic have not gone away. And then on Sunday, here in the U.S., the S&P cut the rating a second time in a week, taking its rating a notch lower.
We are seeing these ongoing efforts for the rescue for First Republic, though.
Yeah, we are. The downgrade, again, is another vote of non-confidence. The fact the stock is down 80+% year to date, also hurting the crisis of confidence. Bloomberg has learned that Tom Barrack, a Colony Capital founder, is taking a leading role in now advising First Republic on options as it races to avoid collapse now that it looks like that $30 billion rescue last week has failed to calm investors. The lender has been trying to reinsure customers and clients that can avoid the fate of Silicon Valley Bank. Still looking for a buyer.
So most likely, First Republic Bank, which even though it has the $30 billion from all these other banks, the stock, of course, still suffered. And I think it went down another 33+% on Friday because of that. So that $30 billion is not really helping them. So with Warren Buffett, if he was to buy them, Warren Buffett in the past has invested in banks in the crisis. Goldman Sachs in 2008, he put up $5 billion and he made $3 billion in return because of that. And another one in 2011, Bank of America, he invested $5 billion also. But as of 2022, Warren Buffett's holding in Bank of America, in which he is still holding, is worth about $34 billion. So now for the world's greatest investor to be interested in the banking sector, right, again, really, it seems like it's a win-win for them. And First Republic would be the better option because of those other companies that have given First Republic $30 billion in order to kind of help it stay afloat, right? So we know that Warren Buffett is not a beginner in this area. He's done this before and he knows what he's doing. So if the Biden administration, which they're not speaking on it anyways, they're not really commenting on the situation, would allow Warren Buffett to invest in First Republic Bank, then, it would restore investor confidence in some way because Warren Buffett has done this before. So I hope in the coming weeks, that they put something out that is public and that will let us know what his intentions are and what the Biden administration will allow Warren Buffett and his team to do. So, and we know that Warren Buffett has a track record of turning companies around because he is the greatest investor in the world as well. So I saw this video on here, and I just wanted to say that this is very important. First Republic Bank was downgraded again Sunday evening by S&P, and a downgrade again because I guess they're saying now the stocks are junk, right? And they're basically junk. Investor confidence in that company is not really going anywhere. So hopefully Warren Buffett comes and save their behind, and then they can continue on with business. But of course, we'll just have to wait and see on that. All right. Thanks for listening. This is Crypto Daily. Peace out.
I want to get your take on this stock sale from First Republic. Now, it's a little bit weird. We're a nighttime program, kind of macro, and we're leading the show talking about a private stock sale from First Republic. I bring it up when most people say, well, I don't care, because a lot of people say that the equity raise from Silicon Valley Bank was really sort of the match that lit the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, just the math here for any kind of market solution, which I would say includes M&A for First Republic, is just terrible. As you noted, the stock is down something like 70% over the last couple of days. It's going to be incredibly dilutive, incredibly expensive. It might save them. But the other thing is,
sorry, why do they? I guess this is where I'm confused. I mean, not like as a TV news guy, but like just as a human being. Why do they need? And maybe Dick can chime in after you. Why do they need, quote, saving when the federal government just said, "Don't worry, we're covering everything. We got you"?
I have to say, I was actually slightly baffled by the deposit, $30 billion in deposits from the big banks that went in there yesterday. It is perhaps a political statement or aimed at the constituency that Herb is talking about. But First Republic doesn't have a liquidity problem that the Fed has not already said we are actively solving. The Fed has been funding this run. They have, at some point, a capital problem, which is they have an investment portfolio that's totally underwater. And if they have to mark that to market, either because they continue to have a liquidity problem, though it's hard to see how that would happen if the Fed is serious about this, or if they are sold, the buyer would have to mark that at its fair value. And there's an equity hole there that at the end of last year, if you look at where they were marking it was something like $2 billion, $2.5 billion. It's only gotten worse since then because we've had a rate increase. So you're looking at an equity hole of a couple $1 billion that they can try to fill themselves. They can have the government take it if it's sold. You could mutualize it in kind of a long-term capital management way, though that's not particularly attractive. You could have the buyer take it. But again, the earnings on this thing are just make that math, that M&A math, incredibly hard.
Yeah. I didn't have long-term capital management reference on my bracket, so congrats to you, Liz. Dick, maybe answer that. I mean, is this equity raise a good thing, or is it signaling like we still need help?
Yeah, well, it's clearly signaling we still need help. But I mean, let's go back to what you said. Why would anybody not believe in the safety of the banking industry if you have the full faith and credit of the United States government behind that offer? The answer is because the government doesn't have the money to actually back up that promise. There's $19 trillion in deposits in the American banking industry. All right, there's $8 trillion, $8.5 trillion at the Federal Reserve. There's about $128 billion at the FDIC. How is the FDIC with $128 billion going to back up, 19 trillion in total deposits, 8 trillion in if you insure deposit? How is the Federal Reserve, which is at the present time struggling to raise money for itself, how are they going to back up a promise to back up all of that?
That's it.
And what about the federal government itself? It's broke. It has to borrow money to pay the interest on its debt. Where does the money come from, which is going to back up, the promise to protect every dollar in the deposits in the banking system? I have no idea.